Ending systemic racism requires massive change. America. Here's a way to start. America is a tinderbox in the aftermath of George Floyd's murder. It has taken bloodshed, fury, and frustration to awaken multitudes in the U.S. to the awareness of the hardships and horrors that face the Black community every day. This awareness has opened the door to conversations concerning race relations, disparity, and inequality for people of color. Now is the time to talk about these issues without adding more complications or pain. Systemic racism will not be addressed in the short term, but we can use the short term to position ourselves and the nation for the massive change that is needed. Although this is a troublesome time, it has also provided a tremendous opportunity to destroy systemic racism and truly unite rather than divide. African Americans in America, who make up less than 14% of the population, are not immune and have to reconcile with the ubiquitous racial divide in our country and around the world. Millions of people in America have expressed concern and want to know how they can help. You can help by understanding the origin of the anger and distress, the generational inability to have equality based on skin color. Start by observing. If you take a moment to observe, inequality is visible. You see it in the workplace, in cultural representations on television, in the educational system, in the political system, and in the wealth divide. You also see gross injustice in the legal and justice system. In the current system, George Floyd's life had less value than $20. What is your observation of the times? What is your personal observation about Black injustice, police brutality, or the cultural divide, if any? Do you feel things need to change? If so, what do your observations lead you to do? Some observations have led to writing and making of videos in the hope of starting a healing conversation. This challenge for change is unprecedented. I hope what starts as a ripple in these conversations will roll out into a tsunami of change. There are creative ways to move within society while not allowing race to be a stumbling block. Some people have challenged societal norms and worn their skin color as something of value. They refused the chains of racism, made themselves visible, and left a positive trail in society. Thousands of Blacks have risen in society in this manner. However, the dominant culture doesn't amplify Black success stories, but elevates disparities and dysfunction. A number of Blacks have looked at the color of their skin as something of value and have devoted their lives to not allowing it to hinder them. But it took education and other resources to give them the advantage to succeed, while others are not as fortunate. They may strike against society in negative ways that may actually be a desperate, heartbreaking cry for help. What can we do? As much as you feel comfortable, start a conversation. Ask something simple like, "How are you feeling?" Or ask, "What can I do to help make things better?" Don't listen in judgment. Be willing to walk in their shoes. Try to imagine what a Black mother feels like every time her teenage son leaves home. Try to imagine living in that paralyzing fear that you may never see your child again, that he may be killed by those sworn to protect society. Listening is the key to understanding pain and anguish. Though we implore the dominant culture to listen to our grievances, the Black community also needs to listen from the perspective of the white culture. There are millions of whites rallying for the cause of justice. We should be willing to walk in their shoes as well and listen to their concerns. A lasting solution will demand effort on both sides. We don't need people to talk at the problem by giving rousing speeches. Nor do we want money thrown at the situation without having a way to measure the impact of the donation. What we need is grassroots efforts and conversations between blacks and whites in all layers of society. Let's find a way to use the exclusive clubs to invite and teach each other about our cultures. We had this conversation on race relations 50 years ago during the Civil Rights era. Why are we having it again today? Dismantling societal strongholds will be difficult, but it must happen if we are willing to put in the hard work. Learn from nature. The next key to understanding pain and anguish is to observe nature. It is full of lessons. Nature sometimes plays a zero-sum game, change or be left at the mercy of the elements. No one stands against nature and wins in the long run. People flow with it. You would never go outside in a blizzard wearing shorts just because you want it to be summer. America needs to redirect and not fight change. The country should recognize that this is the time to find commonality and help build a prosperous nation for us all to thrive. Another key to healing pain and anguish is to learn to find value in one another. Can we begin or try to value one another? Take a moment and answer that question. What negative perceptions of the Black culture are you willing to let go? What prejudices do you have against whites that need dismantling for the sake of unity? If there is any part of your heart that says, "No, I can't value a person the same way I look at myself," don't feel bad. Rather, observe why you feel that way and then ask yourself if you will change. We have no control over our ethnicity. It is a birthright given by a power much wiser than us. Let us strive to appreciate diversity. Let us learn to treat each other as we wish to be treated. It's a simple concept, but requires significant effort to accomplish. The strongest legislation cannot cause a person to self-examine and change in an instant, but you can. The most powerful change to address this issue is one individual at a time examining their own lives and using the power that you have on various levels to influence change. I've outlined powerful keys that can change the world. Listen, observe, value. There's one more critical factor: to emulate. We must emulate those who lead us to the path of unity. There are plenty of examples all around us. We have seen police embrace protesters and say, "I'm with you." We have seen elderly white women embrace young black men and say, "I'm sorry." Each of these actions is an example of human value, and it's worth being emulated. Listening, observing, and valuing are powerful. But the most powerful action is emulation. For a meaningful and lasting change, we can't have one principle acted upon without the others. All four concepts can be summed up in one amazing word: love. Listen, observe, value, and emulate.